The resurrection story completely upends what we think we know about historical events. Imagine a moment so powerful it transformed a small group of demoralized followers into people willing to die for what they witnessed. Today we're exploring how this singular event reshaped human history in ways we're still grappling with.
That's fascinating to consider, especially when you look at those first witnesses. These women who went to perform burial customs that morning had no idea they were about to become part of something that would echo through millennia.
You know what really gets me? These weren't people sitting around waiting for a miracle. Even though Jesus had explicitly told them what would happen, historical records show they were in complete despair, hiding, grieving, trying to make sense of everything.
Hmm, that human element really brings it home. How many times do we hear something but can't truly process it until we experience it firsthand?
And here's where it gets really interesting. The religious leaders were so worried about potential resurrection claims that they posted guards at the tomb. Historical records from that era show this was completely unprecedented. No other tomb had this level of security.
Well, that's what makes this account so compelling. All these details that actually work against what you'd expect if someone were fabricating a story. In first century Jerusalem, women's testimony wasn't even admissible in court, yet they're recorded as the primary witnesses.
Exactly. And speaking of those guards, archaeological evidence suggests they would have been Roman soldiers, not temple guards. That means we're talking about highly disciplined military professionals who were literally trained to die rather than abandon their posts.
So, what do you make of their reaction? These weren't exactly the type to be easily frightened or bribed.
That's exactly what makes this so fascinating. These battle hardened soldiers were so shaken by what they witnessed that the religious leaders had to create this elaborate cover story. Historical records show they offered a significant sum, likely equivalent to several years' wages in today's terms.
You know, when you look at the transformation of Jesus' followers, the historical evidence is pretty striking. These people went from hiding behind locked doors to boldly proclaiming their message in public spaces.
And here's what's remarkable about that. We have multiple independent historical sources confirming that these followers maintained their testimony even under threat of execution. Sociological studies show that while people might die for something they believe to be true, they don't die for something they know to be false.
That pattern of transformation really did ripple outward, didn't it? From Jerusalem to the wider Roman Empire and eventually across continents.
Well, historical records show this movement spread with unprecedented speed. Within just a few decades, we have documentation of Christian communities from Britain to India. That's remarkable considering the transportation limitations of the ancient world.
And what's particularly interesting is how it challenged existing social structures. This wasn't just a religious movement, it was reshaping how people understood human dignity and social relationships.
Absolutely right. Archaeological evidence shows early Christian communities were uniquely diverse for their time, crossing social, ethnic, and economic boundaries that were usually rigid in ancient societies.
That social impact continues to fascinate scholars. The movement sparked by this event fundamentally altered how Western civilization understood concepts like human rights and individual worth.
And you know what's really interesting? Modern sociological studies suggest that revolutionary movements typically need some combination of political power, wealth, or social status to succeed. This movement had none of those advantages.
Yet here we are, 2,000 years later, still discussing its implications. That's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
Well, that's because this wasn't just a historical event, it became this ongoing catalyst for personal and social transformation. Studies show that even today, belief in the resurrection correlates strongly with increased hope, resilience, and pro-social behavior.
That ongoing relevance really is remarkable. The implications just keep unfolding, don't they?
Like, here's the thing. Whether someone accepts the historical claims or not, there's no denying this event fundamentally altered human civilization. It's one of those rare moments that truly divides history into before and after.